Hey guys, Max115 here. Today we're going to be watching a few replays that are actually from a couple of days ago, couple of days old, but that doesn't mean that the replays are not, suitable for watching, I suppose. So let's just get straight into it. The first base that we're going to be attacking here is GC's base. It's a base with 9 ice statues, masterpieces boosted, single shield, and a shock blaster. You guys can see, well, looking at the rocket launcher, I was trying to check how much boost these things have, and I was hesitating about the position of them, but obviously it did take me a couple of tries, but we did eventually get the base. So this is the one that we actually won the attack. So we spent a lot of gunboat energy, as you guys can see, on the 2 rocket launchers that were closest to us, put down all the troops up in the corner there, in the left corner, and then we're just going to start attacking, eating the base from the bottom left corner there. I tried the attack a few times with smokes. Didn't really work out very well because I was wasting gunboat energy on smoke, so this time I'd rather save up some of that smoke instead, and so we still have a little bit of gunboat energy to work with. So I was trying critters instead. That flamethrower is always a hassle to deal with, especially when you're using RZCM, so we just had to use critters, put those again on the opposite side of the flamethrower so that they would just turn around and let the troops just take it out. Right here, the troops are actually doing a pretty good job. They're spreading out. There's a lot of red going around. I don't have that many medics because I went with a 3-3-1-1 ratio, but enough to get the troops kind of spread out. And I think this one attack is going to come up very, very close. You guys will see why in a minute or so. So right here, we were getting a little bit, it was getting a little dangerous because of the 2-shot launchers, and the rocket launcher that was farthest up there was just picking off a lot of my troops, and I wasn't able to shock any of those things altogether. So all I had to do was just kind of, do what I could. I should have waited for my troops to take down that shot launcher. I mistimed the flare there, but I didn't want that rocket launcher to keep killing any more of my troops. So that's why I reflared a little bit early. I panicked, basically. I'm not going to deny it. But still, it worked. All the troops kind of regrouped all the way in the bottom corner, so that gave the medics a few extra seconds to kind of heal as much as they could. And then reflare up in the top corner left there. Sorry, I still have this cough from the whole week. I don't know. I feel like I have a lung infection or something going on. Anyhow, regather the troops in the top there. They're able to take down the shield generator. And at that point, well, the rocket launcher, not too much we could do about it. I didn't have enough gunboat energy to shock it, and I was trying to save the shocks for the shock blaster at the end there. Fortunately, we still had a decent amount of troops. Not too many rifles, but we had a couple of Zukas that were, that were gonna get the job done there. The big problem were obviously the shock blaster and the 2 big ass boom cannons in there, because the boom cannon has so much freaking range. I threw my last shock there. As you guys can see, I was really praying for those Zukas to take down the shock blaster. I wasn't too confident about the boom cannons, but I was kind of hoping that I could find a blind spot from the boom cannons, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw a reflare, or actually a medkit. I thought we threw a reflare. Maybe not. Maybe the reflare would have been a bad idea. But we have 1 minute and 5 seconds left. A couple of Zukas. What is it? Five Zukas left right now. The 2 cryoneers. The boom cannons are picking away those cryoneers. That HQ is coming down, but we're down to 3 little Zukas. And because this was recorded live, I'm not able to speed it up for you guys. So you guys are just gonna have to sit through it. But I actually have 1 Zuka finish its HQ with 45 seconds left. So I mean, it was just a miracle win, because I thought that 1 boom cannon on the left was going to finish picking off that last Zuka. I mean, I can't believe 1 Zuka beat the HQ for me. Fortunately, I think I did go back afterwards and looked at the replay, and that 1 boom cannon was just a millimeter away from the range of that Zuka, so super lucky. 9 ice statues came down. Did take me a few tries though. GC's base is actually pretty tough, but it doesn't matter. As long as we win, it's always a good win. Alright, so I think we moved on from there. Alright, so RCCM, again, we retrain our troops. Arrow 4, or Arrow IV, I don't know which way he calls it, but this base has 5 ice statues, 4 building health, and only 1 defensive building damage, which actually was great. I mean, sure, he does have a lot of building health, and you guys can see the rocket launchers are taking a lot of gunboat energy to take down, but because he only had the 1 defensive building damage masterpiece, and even though it's boosted, it didn't do too much damage. You need a couple of guardians if you want it to be absolutely brutal. But I was able to take this base straight from the front there. Obviously, take down the 2 rocket launchers first, and then put down all the troops nice spread out. 3-3-1-1 ratio again. I think I mentioned it already. Just let the troops kind of start moving into the base. They'll spread out naturally, obviously, because of all the buildings. Critters behind the flamethrower, just like on the first base, so the flamethrower will turn around, buy my troops a few seconds to shoot it down. Maybe not as much as I wanted to. I did lose a good amount of rifles there, but it didn't matter. The thing eventually did go down. Obviously, this base also took me a few tries because it did have 5 boosted ice overall, so that's still quite a lot. And he had the shock blaster, which is always brutal for RZCM. Troops moving in, they're fully spread out. You guys can see they're going from coast to coast on this beach. So there goes the last rocket launcher. We still had a pretty decent amount of rifles there. One of the boats still has 13 people, although one of them only have 1 rifle left. Alright, moving in, boom cannons down. Shot launcher on shock bomb on the shock blaster there. Mines in the front, so I threw a med kit. Mortars everywhere. Man, this base was actually pretty brutal. I'm not sure how I got there, but we eventually did beat it, which is what counted. But man, that was a pretty crazy base. The Zukas in the bottom there. Luckily, there was one medic who kind of went down for those Zukas. Otherwise, that one shot launcher would have killed them. And I needed that little one medic kind of out healed the shot launcher there, which is pretty crazy. I did throw a shock whenever I got enough gunboat energy, and I was hoping, yeah, to go straight for the shock bomb, the shot launcher, rather. And then the flamethrower, that was actually a pretty big mistake, putting those troops right there next to the flamethrower. But anyways, nothing I could do. If I had gone for the flamethrower first, I don't think I could have had enough time to take down the shock launcher. But anyways, we moved down, and yet again we have 5 Zukas. Even though they were clear of range from the machine guns and the mortars, they were able to finish it down. But again, it came down really close. So a couple of lucky wins, I'm not going to deny it. It did take me a few tries again, maybe like 3 or 4 tries per base, until I can finally make the little adjustments that will win me the raid. So again, we can't really speed this up because my software just won't do it for me. But the HQ will come down very quickly. There it goes. 2 smokes at the end. Not like we needed him. So that was Arrow 4's base. Pretty tough base. So now we're going to switch to Heavy-zuka. Because some of these bases I had designated Heavy-zuka. So I had to change the troops in order to take those down. So we're going to go for this one base here. Don't really know what the name says, but it's 9 ice statues. Masterpiece is boosted. So again, a pretty brutal base. Single shield with the shock blaster behind the HQ. Shield generator all the way in the back behind those trees. But my plan was just to smoke all the way to the back, as you guys can see. So take down the 1 rocket launcher first. It took 1 barrage and I think 3 artillery shells, if I remember correctly. 2, 3 artilleries. Yes, we're down to 74 gunboat energy. Put down 2 boats of heavies, 4 Zukas behind them, and then last 2 boats of heavies in the front. Let them gather up, take down that 1 sniper tower. Thank God that boom cannon wasn't in the shore, so I didn't lose any troops on my way up to the back there. So there goes the first smoke. Second smoke, they started walking a little deviated because of the sculptor, but it didn't matter. Thank God the smokes are wide enough to cover all of them. And then just being careful all the time, watching the path, seeing where they're going to squeeze out around those clouds. Not the clouds, the smoke. One last smoke. A little bit leaning towards the left because I was going to reflare them. I wanted them a little closer to that mortar. A couple heavies stepped out, but no big deal. Try not to panic. And then I wanted to flare them closer to the mortar because if they're a little bit, a few millimeters to the right side, closer to that machine, the flamethrower in the upper corner there, then a lot of the troops would just spread out to that side, and I wouldn't have able to take down the base. So that's why I chose to go a little bit closer to the mortar. So critters, shocks on the boom cannon, shock blaster, try to prolong the health of those heavies. A lot of Zuka still in the back shooting down everything. So this base actually went pretty well, a little better than I had expected. Had a lot of Zukas, pretty decent amount of heavy still surviving in the top there. All I needed was just 1 more shock, so I could shock the 2 boom cannons and shot launcher right there on the left side, and then just go straight into the HQ. I was down to only a handful of heavies, but I have a lot of Zukas just going down ham on that HQ, so that came down super quickly. I mean, much quicker than the previous attacks that we just did with RZCM. But 9 ice statues, came down fairly easy. The setup wasn't that great. That HQ was too close to the shield generator. And we got a crystal, which is always great. It's always exciting to see a crystal drop when you don't have any Power Stone chance statues going on. And then the last base we're going to attack here is a base with a laser beam, center layout with a laser beam, shield generator in the back. Got a message from War Dragons right there. If you haven't played War Dragons, give it a try because it's pretty fun. We went into with TRM this time. One boat of medics and one boat of riflemen. Put them all down, so the rifles are absorbing the shots from the boom cannon in the front there. Unfortunately, because of the 3 rocket launchers, my rifles didn't last as long as I wanted to because the rocket launchers just kind of killed all of them. I put all my gunboat energy on those 2 boom cannons, the one in the bottom right and the upper left corners there, because those are the ones that gave me the most trouble. Again, I had to attack this base like 5 times before I got it right. Anyways, shock the boom cannon and shot launcher there, shock it again. Threw a smoke on those 3 cannons in the bottom there because I didn't want that one cannon to just pick them all off. I wanted to save as many tanks as possible. And up to this point I had only lost 2 tanks, which is not the worst. As it is customary with tanks, this attack is going to be pretty long because they're very, very slow. But once we took down that one, the 3rd boom cannon and the shot launcher on the left, we can finally flare all the troops to the left side. And you guys can see there's a ton of economy buildings that we were able to farm for gunboat energy. So I was feeling pretty good at this point. We still have all of our medics, although I think we're just going to lose one very soon. Nope, threw a smoke to cover them up. And just let the tanks move up. The laser beam, I wasn't too concerned with it because tanks have a lot of health. My biggest concern would be single shooters like the cannons, sniper towers, and boom cannons, obviously. At this point, because of the layout of the buildings, we're just going to let the tanks kind of spread out naturally. And they'll follow the path of the buildings. Threw some critters to distract that one cannon. Although, because of the mortar and the laser beam, I don't think... Oh, yeah, they did buy enough time for my tanks to take it down. Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted it to do then. Like I said, these attacks were done a couple of days ago, so I don't remember every detail. I'm just kind of commenting as I'm watching this along with you guys. Also, I didn't mention that this base had 5 ice statues, 4 of them boosted. So reflowered them a little bit further back to take down the shield generator. That boom cannon was still pretty well out of range for now, so didn't have to be too concerned. And we were saving a lot of pretty good gunboat energy. As you guys can see, I already have the shock bomb selected because as soon as that boom cannon turns, I was going to drop that shock bomb right there. Perfect timing. I would have liked to shock the laser beam also, but shocking the shock launcher behind the boom cannon was actually more important. At this point, didn't have too much gunboat energy for anything, so I had to drop critters, I think right on the HQ most likely. Or next to the boom cannon rather. But once the cannons finish off once the tanks finish off the cannon and the boom cannon, we're actually pretty good. The tanks are pretty spread out if you notice, so the shot launcher is only going to be able to shock a couple of them at a time, leaving the rest of them, available for open fire. So we still have enough gunboat energy for one more medkit, which I think we're going to drop on those tanks that are pretty red very soon. There it goes. And it's just going to be a matter of time for that HQ to come down. So we had to go all the way around, and we actually ended up well behind the HQ to drop this base. But it didn't matter, as long as it went down was pretty good. So that was the last attack for now. Okay guys, hopefully you guys liked them. Leave me a comment down below telling me what do you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, until then, I'm Max115. Keep on booming. Bye guys.